he left for like 2 days. And it was just like, it was like a sliding door. We were walking right past each other.
And maybe he would feel just a little portion of pain that I felt.
I always wanted to know, why didn't you love me?
Yeah, I might have a nice car. Yeah, I might dress nice, but when I go home, I don't even really have a home.
Because in the end, I feel like I changed myself. I feel like I lost myself and I had to find myself all over again.
I remember I was sleeping and all of a sudden I felt a hand go up my shorts. And I was like, no, this is not happening. Like, it's not happening. Why would this happen? It's unnatural. No.
It was okay. You gotta go. You gotta get out. I can't deal with this. And then when I literally made the motions to like pick up all his stuff and tell him, okay, you gotta go, it was like he literally grabbed me and just slammed me on the floor. And I knew at that moment he didn't even know what he did. Because as soon as he slammed me on the floor, it's like he turned around and he started like just talking like, I can't believe you tried me like this. I can't believe that. And I was just like, do you realize I'm still on the floor? Like, I haven't even gotten up as yet. Like, I'm still on the floor.
Why is this person doing this to me right now? Why am I aroused? What am I feeling? I've never had this done before. I've never had anyone touch me like this before. What is happening? So while laying there, I'm just frozen.
He would try to make me try on outfits, not even lingerie, like the costumes you get from the costume shop. And let's talk about this. So one time I came home just to get my stuff, and he was there, walked in through the garage, and he had 3 outfits laid down for me. And he told me that I said I was going to do the pictures, which I did because he keeps asking me. He badgered me about it so many times to where I'm literally walking into a trap. So I just broke down and started crying because he's like, I'm like, okay, well, can I keep on my panties? He's like, you have to wear it how it is. You have to wear it just like how it comes out the bag. And then he started dating this other woman, and she came up the stairs and she did not speak English. She only spoke Tagalog. Barely any English, an Asian lady. And I was trying to tell her, I was like, you know, do you not see this right here? Do you not see this? He has outfits sitting right here on the table. He told her to go back to bed and he's handling it. And she left.
I kept calling my mom more than ever, to the point where my mom's like, what's going on? Why you want to come home? You never want to come home. And I'm like, Mommy, I just miss you. I just miss you a lot. I'm ready to come home. I just want to come home. I'm ready to come home. And I remember I called her so much. I literally called my mom so much that she was like, we're booking a flight. You're coming home now.
And then his friend just bursts into the room and he sees how scared I look and he sees how angry his friends look, and he's just like, come on, bro, come on, we just gotta go, we just gotta go. And then he looks at me, he's just like, no, bro, she's good. And then I look at his friend and I'm just like, I'm good. Just, you could go. And then on the inside, it was just like, I felt like, I knew I wasn't good. I knew I was so scared. But I knew I loved him so much. So I was just like, you know, he's not going to do it again. I know that moment, like, he saw how scared I was. So I was like, he's not going to do it again. So I was just like, okay, well, let's talk about it. You know, let's talk about it. And I don't know, I guess I loved him. I do love him, and I just felt like he didn't know. Like, he didn't know that he hurt me.
Where, how did everything start?
Okay, so basically we went home from the party to my house. we watched TV, a couple office episodes, and then he said, I'm gonna go sleep on the couch. I gave him a blanket. I went to sleep. It was probably like 5 in the morning when he finally came into my bedroom, and the door was wide open. He just laid right in, and I remembered him taking off his pants and just, sexually assaulting and raping me. And I just remember him leaving, and I remember just laying in bed, just so frozen. I didn't even lock the door after he left. I just laid there for a whole day, just crying and crying, until I was like finally able to call my mom, and I said, this happened. And she said, well, we need to go to the police. And finally I went to the police officer maybe like 2 days after it happened, and they basically just laughed at me. They thought it was humorous that I wanted to file charges against someone that raped me 3 days before. They said there was no evidence and that it would never hold up in court, so it was pointless to try to even bring him in. So they told me to file a restraining order against him. And so I went down to the courthouse, filed all the necessary paperwork. There was an emergency restraining order placed against him until we had our moment in court. And then finally, when we did go in front of the judge, he had a lawyer, and I went in all by myself, not really thinking anything, thinking much of it. I thought that I would tell my story. I would speak to a judge, let him know how I feel, and he would understand. At that day, I remember looking at the judge, and he just seemed so out of it. He didn't even care. It was just another case. He literally looked at the kid, he had a lawyer, and was like, there's no evidence. Why are we here? And it was literally dismissed, and he laughed at me. I remember having to wait because we weren't allowed to leave at the same time, and I remember him looking at me and laughing at me, and that's what got me the most, because I knew that he knew what he did, and he was laughing because he got away with it. And it just hurt, because I knew if there was some type of proof or evidence or any type of just something, that he would be in a different place.
I just couldn't take it anymore. I really couldn't. And I turned to my mom one day and I said, Mommy, I gotta talk to you. I was like, something happened. And she's like, what happened? What happened? And I'm just like, I think so-and-so touched me like that. I couldn't say that to my mom. I was like, that's weird, it's gross. Back then I was like, I'm embarrassed. I can't tell her that this person touched me like this, ugh. And then she was like, are you sure this happened? And I'm like, yeah, it did happen. And she started bawling her eyes out. And she's like, are you sure he wasn't drunk? And I remember at that moment, I thought to myself, damn, if she don't believe me, then nobody else will. How did this build you, strengthen you?
It gave me strength in a way that I don't have to constantly look for, friendships and people. I just have to, let it go. I always wanted to be loved by everyone. I always wanted to have friends around and be, popular and everything like that. I learned that I don't have to be in everyone's face. I have to, be there for myself. I have to grow, and, it's not something that I constantly have to have a friend around. And I learned to be by myself. I really did. That moment of losing all your friends, no one believing you, you really learn to believe in yourself.
And what does self-love feel like?
At first it's really, really hard because you don't believe in yourself. But then after a while, you realize that you have so much worth to give in this world. That situations like this don't define you, and they shouldn't define you, and you shouldn't let them define you, because you're a better person than that. I always take situations like this as positive, because I can give back to the world. People come to me in situations that have happened like this, and the first thing I tell them is go to the police, go, whatever you do, go get the help right away. Don't wait. Don't be the girl that waits 3 or 4 days because they're scared. Go. I know it's scary, but just go do it.
I remember my mom was in the room. My little sister was in the room, but she was sleeping. And the person was sitting to the left of me. I turned to my mom and I was like, Mommy, I'm going to tell you the story from the top again. From the top. And I started to explicitly tell her every word. And I said, I got bold. I said to him, I said, tell me the truth. No, tell yourself the truth. Did you or did you not do these things to me? He starts yelling. He's like, you're trying to send me to jail. You don't mean me any good. Da, da, da. And I'm like, did you or did you not do these things to me? I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to admit this. If I admit it, then you guys are going to come together and send me to jail. Did you do it? If you didn't do it, you can say no. And I mean, I'm speaking to him just like that. I'm like, you can say no at any point. If you did not do it, say no. Say no. Please say no, you didn't do it. Say something. Say something. Give me something. And I went in that moment needing something. But the something wasn't from him. I could have never gotten it from him because he needs something from him. I went into that room just wanting to have my mom believe it just one more time. I just wanted to give it one more chance that she would believe me. And I remember I turned to her and I was like, Mommy, do you believe me now? Look at him. He won't even say no. He can't even say no. And it was something about the moment where he could not say no. I was like, I won. I won. I won. I stood up to you, looked you in your eyes, and you couldn't even say no. I win. My mom turns to me and she's like, I believe you. I totally believe you. I've always believed you. I just didn't know how. And after all of this, I walked away. Not with anything that he gave me, but knowing that if I stick to my truth, if I stand up for what I know is right, that's okay. Because everybody is not gonna have your perspective. Everybody's not going to have your fight. Everybody is not going to want to see themselves for what they are. But the moment you take a second and say, Tanisha, you're this, and this is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to operate, you can, you will, and you must do it. Because I know who I am more than anyone else. I know how to love me before anyone else knows how to love me.
My friend had to be home. I was always alone. And dealing with him, you know. Yes, I might tell one of the airmen I'm staying with, but they're just telling me to wait until my mom comes. They spoke to my mom. Just hang in there. You know, I've seen the text messages. She's telling the truth. Blah, 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 blah. So I just had to hang in, like.
So, on the day of the verdict of what happens to him, can you walk us through that moment for you?
Well, I was sitting outside and I was on Facebook, and my auntie came outside on the phone. When you're going through a case, nobody's allowed to talk to nobody. She was on the other side. She came outside, and I was sitting there, there's nobody outside. And she just started calling me a bitch and how I was such a whore. Just screaming it right there. Just walking up the little ramp, screaming it right there. So I went back inside, and I was in the room alone because they separated us. Then they finally brought us in, and I was standing with the major of the the law division that they have. And when they said he was guilty, I was just looking like, told you.
What would the you now tell the you back then?
I would tell my you back then that you were beautiful, you are loved. Love yourself. Love yourself. Because nobody is going to love you more than you. And if you know how to love yourself first, you'll be able to teach anybody else how to love you. But if you don't love yourself, it's going to show in how people treat you. So be stirred in how you feel. Don't feel like you have to be complacent. Don't feel like you have to settle, because you're worth more than gold. Your voice means something. It is okay for it to be heard. Do not let anybody silence you, because you are powerful and you deserve to be loved in the way that you were created to be loved. And do not let any man or woman or person or situation take that away from you. And it's okay to walk away. There's peace in walking away, because there's always more love. There's always more love. So that's what I would tell myself.
Thank you. That was great.
Thanks.
Back then, did you deserve more?
Oh, I always deserved more. Back then, I just didn't see it. I didn't realize it. I didn't know it. I never had anybody to tell me this isn't right. You deserve more, And then when it got to a point where, other people did start to see it and they were maybe mentioning it to me, by that time, it was just like, meh. I was so used to it. It became normal to me, because that's just what we did. That's how we went about our relationship.
So, if you could talk to Latoya back then, what would you tell her in that relationship right now?
I would tell her, follow your heart, follow your instincts. I would tell her, this is not the way that you feel like you deserve to be treated. Don't feel like you can fix it. If this person is not willing to even see what they're doing wrong, I would tell her, find yourself, love yourself, because you can't teach anybody else how to love you if you don't even know how to love you. How can you tell anybody else how to be and you can't be that? So I would definitely tell her, you're worth much more than you think. You're worth much more than people have told you. And just because people disappointed you in life or weren't there for you, it's alright, because you're going to be there for yourself. Nobody got you, you got you.
Hey Evolvers, so I know we weren't able to touch on all the different forms of abuse this week, but if you're going through, or if you know someone personally who's going through any form of domestic, physical, or mental abuse,
There's always someone you can talk to. Whether it's a family or a friend, feel free, reach out.
And if you feel like there's no one out there that you can talk to or confide in, feel free to call this number. It's the National Domestic Violence number, and that number is 1-800-799-7233.
See you later.